Hello, everyone. This is Sabine Minsky, and welcome to your Spirited Life. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Mia Saenz. She is the love alchemist. She is the self-love teacher for anyone who feels alone and yet dreams of knowing the joy of a love-soaked life. And she's been discovering the depth of love on all levels. Now, love really is the gold, the secret ingredient that the alchemists were searching for. And that is because love really opens the connection to have all of life's flow, whether it be abundance, money, love. It is the key. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. You and I have had so much fun behind the scenes, giggling and chatting, and it's set a beautiful tone. So thank you, Sabine.
Oh, thank you. I so look forward to plunging with you into authenticity and alignment. You are going to be our bridger today.
I love being the bridge. Thank you. I'm honored, literally.
Between these two concepts, because everything flows. I mean, if we were to retain one word, I think it's flow. But let's see how we can help our viewers bridge these two concepts together. And I'd like to open up the door first to you to share with us what authenticity means to you. Let's start with there.
Okay. Authenticity it's beautiful because when we're in our authentic state, we're in our true state. And you mentioned the word flow being like the number one word. Flow is energy. Flow is God. Flow is empowerment. So what is the word that matches that? Love. So love is flow because love and God vibrate at the same level. So when we are in our state of being our most authentic, we are both authentic and in alignment with who we are. Love it.
Absolutely. I have to say that one of the hardest concepts for me to wrap my head around is probably like the pendant of flow, which would be impermanence. It's a synonym, but at the same time, one has more of a positive vibe and the other one more of an unsettling vibe. So how would you define flow? I'm starting with definitions so that we can bridge and embroider things together.
Beautiful. I love that. Flow is like the ocean or a river. It's a constant move. And it's not the storm of the ocean when there's a magnificent, beautiful thunderstorm over and all the waves are crashing. That's not flow. We're watching a beautiful storm and we're watching nature. Flow is that rhythmic sense. It's the universe. It's the in and out breath that the universe sounds. The sound of the womb, the sound of being underwater. You hear that. Our heart is flow. It's a and the beautiful part about flow is when you think where it starts from, where it comes from, it literally comes from the divine. It comes from God. It is a lot of people, I've seen it especially recently, and I'm not one of those woo-woo spiritualists, and I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm saying that a lot of more modern day spiritualists believe that flow is God, that they're synonymous. And so they are in a great sense because of that natural ability to be rhythmic and to have things move. Manifestation is part of flow. Absolutely. Love is part of flow. Divinity, our authentic self is flow because we're not holding anything back. We're open. And I know that you wanted to go into synonyms or into definitions, so I think I'll stop. But I was like so excited to get into the authenticity part. In the alignment is flow. So I'll let you ask me some more, and then I can share.
Absolutely. Well, would you please just go back on the point that flow doesn't equal God? Is it?
No, it does.
Oh, it does. Okay.
It does. Yes, they're synonymous because the natural flow is energy. The natural flow is God. And so that rhythmic smoothness of what we create in our lives when we live a practical spiritual life is that flow. And so what we're doing is we're reflecting God, and that is the flow. So they are synonymous, just like love and God are synonymous because they vibrate so high on the same level. flow is the same thing. It's that rhythmic, constant movement. We're never solid or sedentary. We feel it at times. We feel alone. We feel scared. We feel depressed. We feel, sorrowful. But that's not our natural state of being. Our natural state of being is joy, beauty, grace, empowerment, flow, love. That's our natural state of being.
I really love how, if we take the bigger picture, even in those moments that you just described where we might feel more alone, more lost, or whatever those feelings that are more hard to wrap our heart and our brain around, we're still in a flow that we don't have the perspective to see.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We are. Well, because we're still being held, nurtured, loved, supported by the universe, by God, by others around us, holding the space of love for us. If I grew up, or if I lived in a jungle by myself, like we hear those few rare stories over, the last 100 years, boy found being raised by monkeys, or, little girl in the lion's den. If I lived like that, I would still be in flow, because I would be in a natural state of tribal earth living. And so my expectations and my thoughts would be different. I would be communing with nature more. I'd be communing with the animals more. I would be still in a state of flow, in a state of grace. It hasn't touched me. It hasn't left me. If I was depressed in my room and couldn't get out of my house, my mother used to be an agoraphobic. So if I was an agoraphobic and could not leave, I still have the ability to have the flow. And my mom did still have, just like many agoraphobics, they have their gracious, glorious moments, and they have their more depressed, frightened moments. They're still in the state of flow if they work it. It's still around them. They're just not identifying with it at that moment. We are never out of the state of grace, the state of flow, and the state of love. It's just that we feel it. That's the human part coming in, interrupting the signals on our spiritual element of who we are.
Mm-hmm. And the flow is such a personal thing. It has our own very vibe. So we make it through how we present ourselves in our life. Mm-hmm. So how can authenticity help us dive into a flow and have that feeling of it and actually realize it consciously?
Authenticity, the most practical main word that I think about authenticity is truthfulness. Why truthfulness? Because we're not hiding from anything. We're sharing, we're expressing, we're being who we naturally are. When we hide, we're not being authentic. Years ago, I've been in this industry for 9 years, active visibly and all that, a few radio shows and different things like that I've been the host of. I would not allow people to come on either my video or my radio shows if they wanted to hide anonymously, because they're not being authentic. Mm-hmm. So stepping into who you are is your truthfulness. If you can't say to the world, this is who I am, take me or don't, that's your choice. But this is who I am. We have to get into a place, and this is where alignment comes in. We have to get into a place where we feel complete within ourselves to be able to say to the world, this is who I am. We all have moments where we want to hide. Recently, I've put on some pounds since I got married 4 years ago. And recently I was on a major, I'm always on stage, but I was on a major stage with Marianne Williamson, and also a few days ago, some pictures were also posted of me. I wanted to curl up and die, literally, because I'm a woman too, I had to get past that. I had to remain authentic. One, because people were saying, you're so beautiful, we love you, we love your work. There was one image, only one image I had them remove off of the Marianne one, because the clothing was sort of see-through and it wasn't the best. And I was like, can you please remove that, because you can see things that are not supposed to be seen. And I was like, why didn't anybody catch that when we were doing the wardrobe before? But it's all had to do with lighting. So my point is I've had to step forward as this woman who everybody sees in a certain light, And I'm normal. I'm just like everyone else. I just work on my stuff, maybe a teeny bit harder or maybe a little bit longer. I don't know. But what I do know is to be authentic and to be in alignment with who I am. I didn't tell people, please remove those, because I had to swallow pride and stand there and say, they love me. This is who I am. I love me. Of course, I teach body love. I teach self-love. I teach a whole bunch of stuff. So if I couldn't be okay with the world seeing that image, then I wouldn't be the authentic person that I am. Did it hurt? Of course it hurt. Sometimes it hurts to be authentic. It's not an easy path that we choose. Just like being in alignment is not an easy path, because that is also about truth and honesty and your core center of who you are.
I mean, authenticity is really a question of diving into our very own values. It's being willing to take that step away from who's around us and what they think and how they live, and also who we used to be and think and how we lived.
Right.
What are some, first of all, do you agree with that?
I do very much. I do very much. No! I'm kidding.
So what are some of your, perhaps would you have some indications that we can use inside or in our interaction with the outside world to know whether we're being authentic?
Yes. And I don't know why my nose tickled. Sometimes I say it's because somebody's thinking about you. You're thinking about me out there. Thank you. Okay. Rephrase that, because I got a little tickled there by my nose. And I want to say it specifically. I want to answer it specifically how you.
What are some of our go-to, whether they be symptoms or signs or feelings or thoughts that help us to know that we are being in authenticity?
Happiness, joy, you're not hiding. Things throughout our entire life can follow us around. There was an incident where I don't talk about it publicly, but there was an incident years ago around 9/11 where everybody knows that I had this psychotic break and from my childhood post-traumatic stress disorder, and it left me without being able to fully function, calculate, communicate, and all that for many, many years. And during that time, being this strong woman that I am, I took the blame for something that happened at our kids' school because I was the one in charge of this project that we were doing. Wasn't my mistake. I ended up paying cash to cover for my girlfriend, who actually it was. And that haunted me for years when I realized, because see, I had already been through 9/11, mentally went down. I never should have been in that position, but I was, so it haunted me. I had to come to terms with the fact that this had happened, that this wasn't congruent with who I was, but yet I loved her and I wanted to support her and help her out. So I did my highest sense of right. So my point is you have to be able to stand forward and say, this is who I am, good, bad, indifferent. Stop the judging, everybody, literally. This is who I am. This is what happened, and move forward. If you can't be that or you can't do that, then you're not being authentic. As a little tiny girl, I loved Martin Luther King. Just loved Martin Luther King. You may have heard me talk about that before, Sabine. I'm not sure. And I always was the love person on the playground. I mean, to the point where I stood in between kids bullying, younger, weaker kids, and just say, back off. And from point blank, from very young age, I knew I had to walk a certain path, but I've also been connected to God and talked to God since I was little. So that's where my alignment is. And I knew even in the 4th grade, I've talked about this regarding healings. I had buck teeth that stuck straight out, and I was going in for my orthodontic appointment, and I was the youngest of 4 siblings. They all needed braces too, but mine stuck out so bad that I used to I'd bite the sandwich, then and peel off the top and put it in my mouth. I mean, it was that bad. And so when I went in to meet with the orthodontist, he said, when did you stop sucking your thumb? One, I was embarrassed that a man asked me that at 9 years old. And two, I didn't want to lie to him, but I didn't want to still be sucking my thumb. So I said to him, I stopped sucking my thumb. I didn't tell him when, I just said, I recently stopped sucking my thumb. It was that morning when I got out of bed, but I never put my thumb in my mouth again. That is where authenticity comes from. It's making the choice to live in what you say you're going to do and to be exactly that person. Mm-hmm. So that is being authentic. Later on, he knew, because I said to him, I have to tell you that morning was the last time I sucked my thumb when I told you. And he said, I figured, I could see your thumb was still withered. But for me, it was important to be truthful, to be authentic, and to be open to that. I do have to quickly add that I had a healing with my teeth. They look like they've been fixed, but they haven't. Prayer with my grandmother, so I'm a third generation metaphysical practitioner. The point is, and part of that had to be the fact that I was honest, because remember, we express for healings gratitude, all that type of stuff. So we can't be grateful if we're not being authentic. We can't have healings if we're not being authentic. We can't bring in the divine flow if we're not being authentic, because it all works together. If we're putting up a wall, which is being non-authentic, if we're putting up any element that shadows of who we truly are, that flow isn't going to remain. It'll go and then it'll stop. So it's not a constant flow. It's like being in the river where there's sand beds that are up. So it's like being in a drift. All of a sudden, bam, you're stopped because there's a sand bed. And so you have to move around and get back into the flow. So you want to always be in the flow. You want to always be able to be authentic, because you don't want to be thinking about, okay, what did I tell so-and-so? And what did I tell so-and-so? And I have to keep all my stories straight. So for me, literally, being inauthentic is almost being a liar. And I don't mean to hurt anybody, but literally, because what's the opposite of being a liar? Truthfulness. And that's the first thing that I said when we first opened up about authenticity. It's truthfulness.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And sometimes we get stuck in this idea or belief that going with the flow of others, so going with what works for others, even if inside we feel that resonance of, no, this isn't me being authentic. Mm-hmm. And we kind of quash that down and try to silence it and go with expectations. How does that reflect in our life, especially in terms of alignment, if we continue in that others flow?
Here is where authenticity and alignment come together. If we're not going to have that, again, that beautiful smooth flow, because first of all, we're not using our own intelligence, right? We're not using our own emotional intelligence, which is a divine intelligence that we grow. So as we live in that state of grace instead of the state of chaos, it's a human thing and a pack-like thing for people to follow the leader. So if you're not a leader yourself, and each one of us is a leader ourselves, because we are the most valuable, important, incredible things on this planet. Each one of us, not Mia, not Sabine, or not just, I should say, not just Mia, not just Sabine. Every single being is of value. Why? Because, again, we're love, we're of the God energy. Even animals need to be treated that way. There's a lot of thought about souls and who carries what. Who cares? We get love from them. They're here to support our planet. We're here to support them. It's a natural flow. So the alignment is who we naturally are. We are infinite spiritual beings. Our core center carries our soul. When we do self-love work, and I have to bring this up, when we do self-love work, that aligns us both to our authentic self and, there I said both of them. So it's an authenticity and it's an alignment. We're bringing in our divine flow as we open up ourselves with self-love. We're not taught on this planet how to love ourselves. This is something that we have to reteach ourselves. We regrow that beautiful, beautiful little inner being that we were. We regrow that little child with love, support, safety, trust, again, love, constantly. So that when we, and this is part of my free gift for you guys, and when we do this and we do this work, it really raises us up, and we get to a point where we have two operating systems. We have the adult, mature person that we've become, and that's lived all this life, and then we've re-raised the gloriousness of who we are from rewriting. So my main talks generally are love changes the energy of your story. So when you do your self-love work, you're changing the energy of your story through love. You're pouring so much love into you, so much patience, so much gentleness, so much kindness, that nobody allows us to be gentle, slow, kind, patient. We allow ourselves to do that. We learn how to do that and how to be that. And what that does is it recreates a connection with self that we've never had before. And that's the divine connection, because it allows the God energy to flow through us. We are God beings. I'm not trying to be blasphemous or anything like that, but I believe that God is my father, mother, not just my father, but my father, mother. And I believe that I am of the God energy because I am an infinite spiritual being. When you follow my work, you'll hear me say things that are unlike things that anyone else has ever said. Like, you're amazing, and you're beautiful, and you're even magnificent. And I truly believe it. I see you watching me saying, I don't believe it. And you may have tears welling up in your eyes. I used to. When after 9/11, I went to a place in Arizona that was incredible. May I share the story, Sabine?
Absolutely.
Okay. I went to a rehabilitation place in Arizona called the Meadows. And everybody there were celebrities and dignitaries, and I was fortunate because my husband had great insurance. So they plopped me over there at $1,000 a day in 1991 or 2001. Crazy. But it was the first major transformational experience I had. And what I want to share with you is every single day, I was there for that psychotic break. Other people were there for sex addiction, drugs, alcoholism, gambling, shopaholics, all that. So every single day, the head of the facility, big facility, she'd come in and she'd sit there and she'd say, Mia, do you know that you're magnificent? And of course, this little girl, because I was still acting like a little girl within me, would say, well, we're all magnificent, not just me. But yet I didn't absorb it. I didn't receive it. I didn't accept it. Why? Because I wanted to support other people. What I learned, and it took me about 2 years, what I learned was that I was magnificent. She was talking about me. Every psychiatrist that my siblings and I had come in contact with, yes, I was raised metaphysical. Yes, I'm a third-generation practitioner. But I came into this planet, and I believe that I chose this life to be who I am today. I chose a mother who was disconnected from metaphysics, who was abusive, who didn't know how to handle her life, and who was bipolar. So with that, I had a very rough life. And most psychiatrists have said to my siblings and I that we should not even be alive today. My older brother was on heroin for 10 years, got out, created an amazing life for himself. My sister dabbled in cocaine and stuff, got out of that, created an amazing life for herself. Another brother became an alcoholic and never left it. I never tried drugs or alcohol until I was 45, was when the first time I had my alcoholic drink. That was like 8 years ago. Woohoo! My point to this is that we are here as siblings, as a family, because we believed in ourselves. We believed in our connection to the divine. And when you work that for yourself, when you allow that flow, we're going back to the flow, when we allow that flow to align us to who we truly are, which is the soul presence of us, is when our magic steps in, is when we can see things differently than others can see who live a subconscious or unconscious life. When we were consciously aware of who we are and living in a higher vibration is when it all flows together. Now, I know you have questions because I sort of went off on my own little story tangent there, but it was important for me to share that.
And thank you for doing that, because it is such an invitation to some of the themes that we just talked about, which is we each have our vibe to look at, our story that nourishes us and that determines what being authentic is for us and how difficult it can be. Authenticity doesn't feel comfortable in the beginning. And as you go on, you always have new challenges of daring to be authentic. I don't know if you still have those feelings of, will I dare to say who I am?
I don't, but people do. But people do. Yeah.
I like to hear that.
And let me tell you, I haven't, since I stepped into this line of work about 9 years ago, because I knew that the gifts that I had to give others was to help shift them. Mm-hmm. And I would not be of service to anyone. I could not actually put my hand out to help somebody if I could not be the authentic person that I knew I truly was. And when we teach our children that is crazy stuff. I mean, crazy stuff.
Yeah. I hear you on, you choose to be authentic all the time. But I think what I had in my mind is that there's still a moment of discomfort, like, oh, will I dare to do it? Like you shared with us about the pictures, but you do it anyway.
Well, that hurt me, the picture, because I didn't know I had gained so much weight, and then I'm just like, wow, because I do all this body work, this self-love work, and I'm like a little fairy at times, I'm just like bouncing all over, and I love my life. So, and I don't see myself that way, so when I saw a still photo of me, I'm like, holy mother, who is that? Who is that with my face? and yes, it hurt me. So what the resistance was the hurt that I didn't see myself transforming and changing, because I am a beautiful woman. I can say I am who I am, and I'm beautiful, not because I've got this face, but because I feel it inside, and because I love. That's why I'm beautiful, just like everyone else. I believe that every man, woman, and child is authentically beautiful. Authentically beautiful. I mean, I don't even see people on the same, I guess I do at some point, but I see people on a different level because I see their soul. Like with you, Sabine, you and I were talking before, and I said, there's something that glows about you. You're just glowing and gorgeous and amazing. And I have to be with you and do these shows with you because I adore you. It's that light that comes out of you. We have a light when we start to do this work about being aligned with our soul's purpose and allowing our soul to move out and to express what we're supposed to do and to be authentic about all of that. That produces a light that shines so bright that no one can turn it out or dim it. No one can do it. And nobody should want to. Nobody should want to dim somebody else's light. We all have this ability to be these bright beacons. And more people are moving into it. I always talk about the 5% rule, which is 5% of the population will absolutely love us. And I was off on my calculations before. I was quoted by my business coach. Uh-huh. She did an article on the 5% rule, and that I shared that with her, and she was so excited when she wrote it. And it's actually 350 million people will love us. $350 million will come our way, minimum. 350 everything. So when you think about that, that takes the ease of everything off of you. You have 350 million chances to love yourself. You have 350 million opportunities to find love with a beautiful mate. This is what the divine, authentic alignment flow is all about. It's understanding your power, your grace, and who you truly are. You don't have to live a life that you feel that you're not being seen, that you're hidden, that you're sad. You can step out. There's hope. There's 350 million ways to get out of that depression. So when you look at things on the bigger scale, yes, it might make us feel smaller, but we understand that the opportunities out there are so great and so vast that we have to do it. We have to take those opportunities because we're here in this experience to grow and to have our soul play Our soul wants to play. It doesn't have to come to planet Earth and be in a human body. We're in the human body to experience the pleasures that we can't without our body. Our soul is housed with God, with all the other souls. Beautiful. I call it home. Some people call it heaven, paradise. It's home. It's where we live, but we're here to play. I may know what an orange tastes like in my soulful state. I may remember the glorious smell, the beautiful taste, the subtleness. I may know what my past lovers feel like, just like we do in our mind's eye now when we're not with people. But I can't experience it without this body. So as we see that, and as we want to move forward, to get rid of our depression, to step into being authentic, to be aligned so we have this greatness about us. And it's not like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. No, it's about what can I give people? Where can I go? Who can I be? What can I share with the world? That greatness is what I'm talking about. That's the greatness that each and every person has within them. And it does come to full, like it's like a volcano erupting. It comes to full bore. And I don't mean that in the destructive way. I mean that in the creation way. It comes to full bore when you be who you are. I love to see us, men and women. Literally, I have on my energy album, there's a track called Creation. And I use the energy of a volcano and Pele to recreate, destroy what we want to bring about the glorious beauty of who we truly are in our business, in our life, in our relationships. So you can have and experience these now by first claiming that you want them and stepping into it without fear. And there's many ways to discover how to do that.
This is not a word that I use often, but I want to say amen.
Amen, yay! A woman, baby, a woman.
Amen to the invitation that you so powerfully shared with us to joyfully experience our life as a human being, as a soul in a human experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that was...
It's cool, isn't it? I mean, it's cool. It is so cool. When we realize we have these opportunities, our life looks different. Our life is different. And that's the beautiful flow. And that's the divine that I'm talking about. That's why flow is synonymous with God and with love, because it's a movement. It's an action. It's forever, going up and down, our soulful connection, here. Oh, I love to make noises. But I'm not cool enough to be a beatbox person.
Yeah, but you did the heart noise. I don't think you can beat that.
Oh, thank you.
No
I know, that's cool, huh?
Awesome. Oh, Mia, I felt like I had fun with you.
I had fun with you.
Experienced the moment of joyful fun. Thank you so much for being
Thank you.
On board with us. And you mentioned a little bit of your free gift, but could you please tell us more about the CD that you're offering our audience?
Yes, this CD is really amazing and powerful. This CD was created 2014. Yes, Thanksgiving it came out. 2014 it was my first CD in all 7 continents in like 170 countries, which is pretty amazing. It's about Spirit Life is about you. And it's about bringing your clarity, your beauty, your visions to life. So on there, you're going to get the inner child, which is that meditative process that I talked to you about. And if you would like to know exactly how to utilize it, please download the 3-part video series on my website. So it talks about that and also the mirror work, which is very important for self-love. Clarity is, or contentment is very beautiful. The background music is called Clarity. And so that's why I get them confused. And literally that was a download. People were asking me, what is it like for God to love me? And so when I was in the studio, that's what that is. It's your magnificence and how you are loved by God. And then Restful Intentions is all about falling asleep at night without the stresses, the chaos, working through insomnia, sleep apnea, reprogramming yourself to wake up to a beautiful day. And then there's the last one of, I can't remember.
About male, female?
No. Contentment, Restful Intentions. Well, it is just lovely. I can't remember what it is. I'm trying to see it in my head on my external hard drive because I also have it in there. That's so funny. It's good. That's all I can tell you. It's fabulous. No, the other one is on my Energy album, which came out this year at Thanksgiving time. So
Oh, Mia,
contentment and critic, restful intentions. Oh, well, I love you guys. That's all you need to know, right? Sorry.
It'll be a surprise.
That is so funny. And I'm laughing because this has been downloaded like over 6,000 times. It used to be my free gift, and now it's a saleable. And it's really an amazing gift. Shoot, I can feel it, but I can't. I'm so sorry, guys. That's what happens when we'll say it's because I produce a lot of work, okay? Not because I'm getting up there in age.
Thanks so much for playing with us today and for sharing your insights. It's really been a pleasure, as always.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.